morning, Ann.
Good morning.
It's so good to see you today, and I'm so glad you're here.
Thank
so
you.
we could talk about what survived.
And indeed, it's a happy subject, actually.
Yes, it is.
Because more things survived than we might have thought.
I know.
Really.
You know, we had our second unexpected event this year.
Yeah, I know.
And it was, I think, in some ways almost worse than year before last because it was so sudden and so early.
And it was so unexpected.
It was.
At least from my standpoint.
All of us.
Yeah.
Especially the plants.
Yeah, especially the plants.
But as you know, these gardens, we don't protect them. We don't do anything extraordinary because it lets us know who survives the roughest conditions.
That's the best way to do it, I think, really. Especially in a situation like this where people come to look and learn.
Right.
If they can see things that are actually coming out of the ground after that, that's more than a book.
Well, let's talk about what we can be proud of.
Actually see.
And be positive about.
Yeah.
I'm going to start with the rose because roses are herbs.
Yes, they are.
And they were herb of the year several years ago.
Yes, they were.
This is the Gay Hammond rose, named after our friend Gay Hammond of the Houston Rose Society. Look how beautiful it is.
It looks like it didn't even have winter this year.
It does, doesn't it?
It's amazing, and I think if we got closer to it, we'd see little buds here and there.
I'm sure we would. I'm sure we would.
It'll be out soon.
And so what do you think about that crawling out of that planter box right there?
Well, herb lover that I am, I'm thrilled to see the thyme doing its thing after all that cold. It looks unharmed, and I know that if the leaves are unharmed, certainly the roots are very much so.
Right.
And they're probably already growing like crazy down there where we can't see them.
So that's in a raised bed.
Yes, it is.
So the roots were somewhat exposed, more than in the ground.
Yep.
It is not irrigated.
Right.
So it not only survived that event, but it survived last year's drought.
And last year's summer's temperatures too. I mean, that is a really tough thing.
Well, I noticed you picked two particular varieties off the shelf for us to look at today.
Yep. Very good. Yeah, and they're very different from each other and very different from the one over there. This one is a creeping thyme. I would say that all thymes could be characterized as creeping.
I agree,
I think.
yes.
But this one is especially known for it, and because it is so small and hugs the ground like it does, it's excellent ground cover in shade or in part sun.
And you know, this is a great accompaniment to a rose garden.
Yes.
For people that want to plant under the roses so they don't, it helps suppress weed growth.
Yes. And I planted in my big pots around the roses and other flowering perennials because I think it helps to keep bugs away too.
It does.
Bugs don't come for this.
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect point. And then what about this beauty?
It's a beauty, much the same habit as the one we see in the bed over there. It climbs out of the bed and lights up the whole garden because of the
bright
beautiful bright colors of it. And mind you, when we talk about these thymes, they're all good for cooking.
They are.
Some of them are more easily handled. For example, I would cut these off like this, and my family will tell you they find the bare stems in the soup because after they boil for a while, the leaves fall off.
Yeah.
But they're doing their work seasoning.
Right.
Wonderful. These are probably not as flavorful, and certainly a tiny little variety like this is not that much fun to work with in the kitchen. But this guy is, and just lights up the garden.
Well, I know you use them because I've been to your house for dinner.
Yes, you have.
So that's perfect.
Good.
Now, another really big surprise to us all, and has been for several years now, is that wonderful plant right there, the bell pepper basil.
Yeah, I hope this is it. Yeah.
Well, this is your...
No, that's mint.
Yes.
We don't have bell pepper basil yet.
Right.
It's too early.
Right.
But look at what it's doing in the garden. Now that one, 3 or 4 years old?
Or more.
They are perennial basils, and the only perennial basil.
I was going to say, that's unheard of, is a perennial basil.
Yeah, and to see it, let's see, here we are early in the spring or very late in the winter, and it's already got a goodly number of fresh new leaves on it, and will continue, and those things get to be quite shrubby.
They really do. And the leaf, I've noticed, is a little more leathery.
Yes, it is.
Than your traditional basil. And with that slight bell pepper flavor and fragrance, it's really wonderful for infusing.
Oh, yes, that makes sense. The other thing it's a winner at, and I can't say this for other basils, it likes the shade.
Yeah, really?
Bell pepper basil does like the shade.
Well, I will try it.
Yeah, and I think Madeline Hill even said about it that it tasted better if it were grown in the shade. I think that's up for discussion. But nevertheless, it's not afraid of the shade.
Well, I will definitely try it out there.
Yeah.
Another one that is a true champ is the Comfrey over there.
Oh yes, that's a gorgeous thing. Big leaves, and it's coming up so beautifully at this early, and I know that it spreads, doesn't it propagate itself.
But you know, it's never a garden problem.
No.
And the blooms are gorgeous.
They are indeed. It's a winner.
Yeah, it is. It really is. We have a customer that shows rabbits, and she takes her Comfrey to give them to help settle their stomach after travel.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Very interesting.
Well, I wonder, maybe in the past humans used it that way too. It has a name that indicates a
comfort.
Comfort.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So another one, we can't not overlook this red-stemmed apple mint.
No, this is a champion of this garden.
Right.
Of this whole garden. It was named for Madeline Hill. It's called Madeline Hill Red Stem Apple Mint. She really promoted it. She didn't discover it as she did some other things, but this is the only mint that has both spearmint and peppermint oils in it.
And you know what I find too, it's not as pungent or it's not as strong to one or the other. And whenever I crush the leaf and let them smell it, they always gravitate to this one.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It's very pleasant. It's my understanding that it was the only mint used in cooking out in Festival Hill.
Oh, really?
Madeline and Gwen both used exclusively this mint.
So if you don't want it overpowering, but you want those peppermint, spearmint flavors, this is definitely, and I've never seen it not come back for anything that we've done, even in a container.
Excellent. That's excellent news. I'll be watching mine.
Yeah, excellent.
That's a favorite for sure.
Okay, we have to talk about lavender.
Yeah.
I think that's one of everybody's traditionally favorite herbs is lavender.
Everybody who has a fondness for herbs wants to grow lavender.
Absolutely.
In the Gulf Coast region, it's a challenge, but some varieties have been found that we can be successful with. And I think there are a couple of things. One that we learned from Madeline, which is wherever you plant it, whether it's in the ground or in a big container, mulch it with small stones.
Right.
And don't soak that area of the roots near the surface. Don't soak it every day with water.
No.
Kind of water gently around it and let those rocks keep all that water from soaking the roots.
Because I think that's why people have issues or problems with it. They try to water it from the top.
Yeah.
Not from the side or underneath.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's very true. And we have such strong sun and heat in the summer. It's natural to think that's what's needed.
Right. Perfect. But oh my gosh.
These Mediterranean herbs are the ones we grow mostly, and the only reason we can grow them is because of Madeline's work.
That's right.
And I often tell people that my mother's herb list was parsley.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's
in
a short list.
1940s. So, these things are absolute treasures.
Well, you know, we can't say enough about Madeline Hill. We really can't.
She was our mentor in many ways and our hero in many ways.
Absolutely.
And we have these herbs because of her work and dedication.
Exactly.
So if you're a gardener who loves herbs, you're right in that tradition.
Exactly. So there's one more I wanted to point out. Great perennial for the garden is this lemon verbena.
Let me take this from you. Yeah. talk about this a bit.
Well, you know, you would use this anywhere that you would lemon. So the fragrance of this foliage is remarkable. And it's, like we've talked about before, herbs were landscape plants before they went into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect example of that. You get this sweet bloom. It's great for the pollinators. You've got this incredible lemon scent and flavor.
It's wonderful.
Cookies, tea, whatever you would use lemon for. And a tough, heat-loving, drought-tolerant plant. So there's no reason not to plant this into your pollinating, your butterfly garden. Use it anywhere.
And can this be cut back during the season?
Oh, absolutely.
So that it'll go ahead and branch out a bit?
Yes, it's a mounder. I would say averages around 14 to 16 inches tall, about 24 inches wide. But definitely a must-have. And if you have deer, this is a winner. This is a champion.
Oh,
you need to plant some.
I need one. I need 6. Yeah. There were 17 deer at my house last week.
Nice. And we should mention that.
Yeah.
A lot of the herbs do help deter.
Yes. In my garden, the largest of my container gardens, I grow only herbs.
Right.
Because it's open on all 3 sides, and deer will scope it out.
Yeah.
And they will eat what's in there if they like it.
Right.
They will not eat herbs.
No, they don't.
They don't.
They really don't.
And it's a terrific thing. Now, rose is an exception to that.
Yeah.
It is a herb. It's classified
But we
as
can
one.
surround it with these aromatics and protect it.
And even mint. You can plant mint around.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you.
And you.
Let's go shopping in the herb house.
Let's.
Okay.